Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to Paris. Welcome to Place Vendôme, which is where I'm broadcasting from right now. I am seeing the first live viewer, so I know that I am connected. Fantastic. Welcome once again. This is episode 3 of my series of live video tours of Paris. If this is your first time joining the project, the idea is that I'm going to do a different episode every weekend, and it's going to allow you to sort of in real time walk the streets with me. Here we're at Place Vendôme today. There are already 50 of you. Fantastic. Let's see if we can't break a record today. Why not? And so we're here to walk through the streets vicariously together, and also I'm going to point out some great details along the way and some anecdotes and things like that. So I'm going to wait for a few of you to join before we get going, but otherwise we can enjoy this lovely view. Hello from Florida. Hello everybody. Cleveland, Ohio in the house. Let me pan around a little bit for you guys, nice and slow, to give you a look at Place Vendôme. Hello Orlando. Hi Debbie. Norfolk, Virginia. Fantastic. We're already up to 83. That's great. Hello Barbara. Seattle. Fantastic. I'm going to give you guys a nice slow pan of Place Vendôme. Hi Kim, hi San Diego. Hi Amy. This is where I just say hi to like 200 people. Okay, so if you just joined me, we're going to get started here. Episode 3 of the live video tour series of Paris. And we're going to be together for 30 minutes or so, and I'm going to show you guys some fantastic stuff. We're at Place Vendôme, I put it in the description, and we're going to be walking to Place de la Concorde, so from one royal square to the other. Let me show you who I am. Hello everybody, my name's Corey Fry, if you don't know already. I call myself a French fry in Paris. I'm a tour guide, a blogger, a photographer, a lover of Paris. I've been here for 8 years, and I've been doing this series that I believe is the first of its kind, where we're going to walk through the streets live together, and we are live right now. If you didn't catch the beginning of this, don't worry, it's going to be on replay on Facebook, on my Facebook page, A French Fry in Paris. And so let's get started. Over 100 of you there already, so I think that's certainly enough of an audience to get things going. So let me show you Place Vendôme and tell you a little bit about it. This is a square in the first arrondissement of Paris, and it's one of the very few royal squares. I mean, we've only got 5 royal squares, meaning squares built for a king. This one was built for Louis XIV in the early 1700s. But that's not Louis you see at the top of this column. That is another egomaniac known as Napoleon Bonaparte. And we'll talk about this column in a second. Hi, everybody. I love hearing where you're from. That's fantastic. Hope you're doing well on this Saturday. So Place Vendôme. Early 1700s it was finished for Louis XIV, and it's now known as a very chic place to be for sure. We're right in the heart of Paris. We've got a lot of high-end boutiques. We've got high-end hotels. And speaking of hotels, I want you to take a look at the Ritz. We're going to close in on the Ritz a little bit here. Hello Tacoma, Washington. Hello Boston. As usual, I'm going to try to keep the video nice and smooth for you guys today and make it as comfortable for you as possible. We have the Paris Ritz here, and it's pretty much one of the most glorious hotels that you can find, and it's housed in one of these classic 18th century or even 17th century style mansard type of buildings. And the Ritz is an interesting address. It started in the 1890s, and it was actually the first ever hotel with its own private bathrooms. So imagine, having to share bathrooms in hotels, no matter how luxurious they were. And the Ritz essentially allowed you to have a private one. Also, we've got a great cast of characters that have come through here at the Ritz. Ernest Hemingway famously used to be here all the time because his buddy F. Scott Fitzgerald, as they were expat writers, they used to be hanging out here actually in the bar. And the Fitzgerald, F. Scott and his wife Zelda, actually used this as their headquarters. Hemingway later boasted that during the Nazi occupation, he actually helped liberate the Ritz from the Germans. We don't know if that's totally true or not. He tended to embellish his own adventures. Also here in the Ritz, we had Coco Chanel famously lived here starting in the 1930s. Coco Chanel, interestingly, you may know that she has that famous perfume called Chanel No. 5, Well, when she had to choose her perfume, she had to choose a shape for the bottle. I don't know if you can imagine that in your mind, but the shape of the bottle of Coco Chanel's number 5 actually mimics the exact shape of the square of Place Vendôme. So she used the bird's eye view, the shape of this, as you were looking down on top of it, as the shape of Chanel number 5 perfume. So let's talk a minute about this column. It's made of bronze. It's got Napoleon at the top. Originally, they had a statue of Louis XIV, but then the revolution took care of all that, and Napoleon came in, Napoleon Bonaparte as emperor, and essentially built his own stuff. You know, he was quite an egomaniac himself. He built the Arc de Triomphe, which was inspired by Roman ruins because he wanted to feel like Julius Caesar, and this was also inspired by a column in Rome as well. If we get a little bit closer to it, I want to show you the beautiful carvings, the bas-relief, as we call them. I'm going to wait for the car here. Just to give you guys a visual here. So all of these sculpted panels basically representing the victories, particularly the Battle of Austerlitz, that Napoleon was particularly proud of. His men were outnumbered, and they managed to defeat the Austrians. And so a lot of things built by Napoleon were a testament or sort of a celebration of his own military victories. I'll give you guys a nice close-up there. Got the doorway. Technically, you can go up inside, but I've never been invited up there, which is rude, but no one's ever asked me to go up. I want you to take a look over this way too. We're going to go to number 12 because along with Coco Chanel and F. Scott Fitzgerald and Hemingway, we also have Frédéric Chopin, or Chopin. And Chopin was Polish born, but he spent most of his adult life and his career as a composer-pianist here in Paris. He adored Paris, and Paris adored him really, and he lived here. And so I want to actually show you the courtyard of this building. Am I allowed to film in this courtyard? I have no idea, but we're going to do it. Terry's asking, are the windows at the Ritz repaired after the robbery they had? That I do not know. I'm sorry, I can't answer that for you. So guys, we're at number 12 of Place Vendôme, and we have a courtyard, but first let me show you this. It's a little dark, but I want to show you there's a rather glorious staircase. Imagine, I don't know if Chopin would have actually used this staircase when he was living here in the 19th century, but I think that's pretty glorious. I think someone just said I have a pleasant voice. I appreciate that. I do my best to make it pleasant. Here is the courtyard of number 12 Place Vendôme. And with a bit of imagination, we can imagine Frédéric Chopin living here in the mid-1800s. He actually died at this address somewhere in one of these apartments. He's buried at Père Lachaise. Now, let me switch this back here. So if you guys are joining and you don't know who I am, my name's Corey Fry. I'm a French fry in Paris, and I'm a tour guide, a blogger. I'm all bleached out here. Tour guide and vlogger and photographer in Paris. I've been here for about 8 years, and I love the city, and I love helping people discover it. So I'm doing a weekly series of live video walks, and where I can give you a little bit of a guided tour, sort of a little taste of what I do as a tour guide here, because I do give tours all day, every day, around all these beautiful areas. And this isn't intended as an actual tour, but just to give you guys an idea of how I do it, and to also let you live vicariously through me, sort of as a conduit, hopefully, for those of you who can't be in Paris. I'm bringing Paris to you. So I'm going to flip it off myself. Back to Place Vendôme, and I'm going to do some nice slow pans for you guys so you can get a feel for this area. And then I'll show you one last thing and we'll be moving on. I got to show you guys one of the coolest details that I know of in this area or any area. I think you're going to enjoy it. So we're going to go back over toward the Ritz. Now, to touch upon the Ritz again, I got to give you guys a great Ernest Hemingway quote. He said later in life, after spending time here as a younger writer, Hemingway said, "When I imagine the afterlife in heaven, the action always takes place at the Paris Ritz." And I think that's a pretty lovely little quote. So as we're walking to this detail at Place Vendôme, it's actually back over near the Ritz side, on the western side. You guys know about the French Revolution. It kicked off in 1789, and they hated the monarchy so bad that they went and tried to erase the memory of the old regime. And that meant they had to do over the calendar system and the clock system and on and on and on. But they also redid the measurement system. And this is an object that I'm really excited to show you guys. Somebody colored it a little bit, and I don't quite appreciate that. It's not supposed to be pink and green, but I want to show you this extraordinary leftover historical detail. I got to interrupt myself. Judy just said, "Isn't that where Princess Di left from prior to her accident?" Exactly. She left Place Vendôme and the Ritz before she got in her car crash. So, here we are. What is this? This is called a mètre étalon. And what the revolutionaries did in the 1790s is they invented a new measurement system, i.e. the metric system. Now, I know we Americans aren't very good at using the metric system. I think we're waiting for the rest of the world to drop it, actually. But the rest of you out there, you're quite familiar with the meter. And the French Revolution invented that. So they invented it by defining it as the following. What they said was, a meter is going to be 1/10,000,000th of the distance between the North Pole of the Earth and the equator. So if you imagine that, measure the distance from the North Pole to the equator, divide it into 10 million, and you've got the very first meter. Now, they had to convince people to use it in Paris, and so they put 16 of these plaques in marble. Ooh, I love to touch me some history. I know some of you are very jealous right now that I get to touch this. So anyway, 16 of these plaques placed in animated areas of the city so everybody could get used to this new system of measurement, and they even carved a few centimeters. Now, I get to do something really exciting with you guys because I have always wanted to do this for years and years. I have got myself a little tape measure. I have always wanted to test the validity of this and to see if it actually is a meter. So I hope you guys are going to appreciate this. I'm going to try to do it with one hand. I'm extending my tape measure to a meter, and here we go. Let's see. I'm going to line it up right here, one end of the meter, and shoot. Sorry. Here we go. Okay, I got it. We're gonna get this done. This is why I need an assistant. Who wants to come assist me? I'm sure a few of you do. So, boop, right there, and pretty darn close. You see that? Just about 100 centimeters. So the meter is still pretty much a meter. There we go. Thought you guys would appreciate that. Back to Place Vendôme, and let's get out of here. Let's go see some more stuff. What a shocker. Some of you are volunteering to help me out. Leaving Place Vendôme. Let me take a look at the comments here and see what you guys are up to. Are there private apartments here as well? There may be a few. I know, for example, people are renting out hotel rooms like Coco Chanel once did. But to be honest, I don't know too much about what's going on up in Place Vendôme because, again, I don't get invited up very often. There we're looking at Rue de la Paix, which heads toward the Opera House. But we're not headed there today. I want to show you guys a fantastic detail this way. So just south of Place Vendôme, guys, you have this hotel called the Hôtel de Vendôme. And if you look up here, I know you can't make it out very clearly, but there's a little plaque embedded between these two heads in the stone. That is quite interesting, particularly for you Americans. You might not realize that Texas was its own sovereign nation in the 1830s. And they actually broke away and they were their own republic. So there were only two countries that recognized Texas at that time as its actual own country. And one of them was England and one of them was France. So what this little plaque says, I'm sorry I can't zoom in for you, that this building is where the Texas Embassy resided. So there was an embassy to Texas, not to the US, but to Texas. And then eventually it was annexed into the United States. But I find that quite interesting that this building, which is now the Hôtel de Vendôme, used to house the Texas Embassy back in the day. I've got family in Austin, Texas, and I know that they're probably watching right now. Sorry for the finger. So guys, we're on a street called the Rue Saint-Honoré, and it's a very swanky shopping district. I'll show you this lovely shop here. On the Rue Saint-Honoré, this is a street that's been here for centuries. A lot of high-end shopping, as I said, but I want to show you a secret little spot. This happens to be the street, by the way, that Marie Antoinette would have been carted down from the Conciergerie prison during the Revolution when she was on her way to the guillotine. And so she would have come down from there, from the east, from the Conciergerie. She would have been carted slowly down this street to Place de la Concorde, where I hope to end the walk today. And they say that the usual prisoner from the Conciergerie, it would only take about 20 minutes to get them to the National Razor or the guillotine. But for Marie Antoinette, they took up to an hour and a half to slowly drag her through the streets. These very streets, actually. So if you're on the Rue Saint-Honoré and you happen across number 350, you guys see 350 there? I want to show you this rather quiet little courtyard. Ah, finally, some peace and quiet. So we've got a courtyard here with a lovely shop that seems to be selling champagne. Very high-end champagne, I'd imagine. But in addition to this shop, we have a lovely little statue there. And let me pan around for you guys nice and slow. There are so many courtyards like this in Paris. You can really get away from it all. And it's really transporting. Now there's another side courtyard as well. Again, this is at number 350 Rue Saint-Honoré in the 1st arrondissement, if you ever want to find this. This is what it's all about, seeking out these hidden little spots. So what's going on here is this is actually a beauty salon and a spa. Okay? But it's a tea room as well, because of course, while part of the spa experience is to have a little cup of tea and relax. So it's very green. I just wanted to give you guys a look at that because I think it's pretty special. Lisa's asking if I do tours all over Paris. Let me address that. I don't want you guys to have to look at me too much. I know you're here for the city, but I am a tour guide. My name's Corey Fry, a French fry in Paris. And I do give tours pretty much all over the city. I have neighborhoods that I prefer over others, but you can contact me via my blog or via this Facebook page or on Instagram, and that's we can talk about taking a tour together, because that's what I do full time. So let's switch it back to this courtyard. One last look. If you guys want to know the name of the spa, where you can come for a treatment or just for tea, it's called Darfin. And one last goodbye to the statue. I love a good statue. We're almost at 300 live followers, which I did not expect, but I didn't expect half of the response to these videos that you guys have given me. I want to thank you so much for that. You are absolutely phenomenal. Back into the real world. Again, if you're just joining, we're doing a live video walk of Paris, the first arrondissement. We just left Place Vendôme, and you can go watch the replay if you missed that section. And we're headed to Place de la Concorde. Hope you guys are enjoying this little vicarious stroll. I want to show you this shop in particular. It's called WWII. And I thought you guys might like a look at this little guy. He's in a little luggage. I've actually seen Parisians do that, by the way, pop their dog in a piece of luggage. Convenient on the metro. And let's hit the streets again. Thanks, Missy. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Hello. Yeah, someone's saying like the hidden courtyards in New Orleans. Yeah, certainly plenty of French influence there, needless to say. I have not yet been to New Orleans, so if anybody wants to give me a tour, if anyone lives there and wants to give me a tour one day, I would gladly do that. Okay, we're on a street called Rue Castiglione, and we're going to go into the rather famous arcades near Place Vendôme, and I want to give you an idea of these beautiful floors. Look at that. Give you guys sort of a virtual flyby of the floors. And the doggy. Salut chien, ça va? Super. Bonne journée. So we have shops here. I think some of you will appreciate this one. Macaron. I know you're all down with that. Well, actually, you're not all down with that. I've met a few people who don't like macaron, and you can let me know in the comments if you do, or if you don't. This is La Durée, by the way. What we just saw, I'll give you one last view, a little bit of fantasizing with the macaron. I think we might have just broken a record for live viewers, and I thank you for that, guys. Here we go. We're heading toward Place de la Concorde, more specifically the Tuileries Gardens first. In addition to the little heart buttons and the thumbs up buttons, I think there should be a macaron button where you guys can just send me virtual digital macaron. There's a big debate, by the way, whether La Durée is really the best or not. Some people like Pierre Hermé. Some people don't like either one of those and think that they've gotten sort of over-commercialized. But so we are a block away from the Tuileries Gardens, guys. Robin Parker's asking, is February a good time to visit? If you don't mind the cold, not at all. If you don't mind the cold, it's actually the perfect time to visit. Definitely not a lot of crowds. I want to give you guys another view of the floors here, because there's just no attention to detail like that anymore. And Paris is really a city of details. It's really a city that encourages you to stop for a minute and enjoy sort of the art around you, the expression around you. I don't want to get too pretentious about it, but I do feel that way. Look at that. Ah, that's what gets me out of bed in the morning, people. I love it. Oh yes, Fauchon macarons are also good. Thank you, Cindy, for giving them a little shout out. Oh, I have to give someone a shout out, and I don't know if you're watching right now, but Shelly, hello. Shelly from Instagram. You guys should check out her embroidery. She is amazing. She calls herself Shelly Sells Lemonade. Shelly sells lemonade. And she doesn't sell lemonade, she sells embroidery, but you want to check her out on Instagram. These are the sort of grand arcades of the Rue de Rivoli. That's where we are now. I'm panning nice and slow for you guys. The locals are giving me the sort of weird eye, as usual. All right, here's where it gets interactive. Do you guys want to walk under the arcades in front of us, or do you want to walk along the park? First one to answer gets to choose. First one to answer, arcade or park? Oh, Shelly, yes. Shout out for Shelly, exactly, I promised you. While we're crossing the street, I want to give you guys one last look at Place Vendôme. There we are. And here we go. Okay, Sally Livingston says arcade, and Sally is an awesome supporter and follower of mine, so we're going to give Sally the arcades. The arcades will actually be a chance for me to show you one of my very favorite addresses, and it's not Angelina. So we're on the Rue de Rivoli. We're heading west to Place de la Concorde. On the other side of Rivoli, we have the Tuileries Gardens. Not exactly in bloom this time of year, but lovely nonetheless. If you're just joining, my name's Corey Fry. Let me show you who I am. Corey Fry, French Fry in Paris. I'm doing a series of live video tours, walking tours, where you can join in real time and vicariously walk through the streets of Paris with me. I'm going to do one of these every weekend, and you can find more of them by going on my Facebook. I'm going to start a YouTube channel soon with all the videos. Again, Corey Fry, contact me. I give tours all around, like this one, but even more in depth. This is just a little taste of the kind of walks that I like to do. We're going to make our way to Place de la Concorde and finish up the walk there. I also want to mention that we're going to do our cafe chat. So if anybody wants to stick around after the fact, we can do that. I'm going to pick up the pace a little bit, but I got to show you. If you guys want a really great food address, there's a place called Edouard. Give you a view there. Edouard. And they have the most amazing chocolates. Handmade chocolates. Here's the shop on Rue de Rivoli. They have things like Japanese whiskey and Indian curry and lemon curd and all kinds of lovely stuff. I have no affiliation with that shop, but they're pretty fantastic. Little cafe here. A lot of cafes along the Rue de Rivoli, all with their own little decor. And I'll probably pop into one of these after the tour. If you guys want to join me for a second broadcast, we'll have a chat. We're getting to the end of our walk today. Elena is asking, how can you contact me? You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on my blog at A French Fry in Paris. You can find me on Instagram under French Fry in Paris. You can email directly at the following address, tours@afrenchfryinparis.com. So there are plenty of ways to get a hold of me. And if you want to talk about tours and pricing and things like that, I'll be happy to show you around. We're getting to Place de la Concorde, where we're going to finish up. And we just hit our record of 400 live viewers. You guys are too awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. We are going to cross the street right here. I think you guys might enjoy this perspective. Place de la Concorde. And I'm going to give you guys the ultimate vantage point from the Tuileries Gardens. Oh, let me show you guys something before we pop up there. I would be remiss if I didn't show you guys some evidence of the Nazi occupation. So as we gaze upon the beautiful Place de la Concorde, I want you to know that in 1944, this is where the ultimate fight for Paris finished against the Nazis. August 25th, 1944. After the resistance fought for about 6 days, the Allies came from Normandy and whatnot and saved the city. And the final battle took place here. So people walk by all the time to go to the metro station, but they rarely notice these. You're looking at bullet holes from the liberation of Paris when they fought the Nazis back in the day. Now, some of these are pretty serious. I'm going to poke my finger in here to show you how deep that goes in. And right here, too. You guys see that? And this one. This is a good one. I know we got some World War II buffs there somewhere. And so I want to show you that. Also, if you look up here, there is a statue of a lion, and you might not make it out on the video, but the lion actually has cracks in his tail and cracks in his legs. That's because a tank blew him off of his own feet, and he came tumbling down, and they had to reconstruct and put the lion back up on his own feet, and so that was damaged as well. Again, bullet holes from battling the Nazis in 1944 at Place de la Concorde. You can find these right outside of the metro station here, which is called Concorde, okay? If you want to find that. Okay, one last thing. I think it's time to wrap this thing up. Up into the Tuileries Gardens. Ah, Azad says he walks by there every day and never noticed the bullet holes. Exactly, Azad. That's why I'm here, buddy. I want to help you, all of you, to discover that great stuff. So Place de la Concorde, real in a nutshell. We won't do a full tour of it here, but it's from the 18th century. It was built for Louis XV. So we started out today at Place Vendôme, built for Louis XIV. This one was for number 15, and that was the name of it, Place Louis XV. During the Revolution, they set up a little something known as the guillotine here, and it became Place de la Révolution. And now it's Place de la Concorde. Concorde being a word that means concordance and agreement. This is where the guillotine was laid out. Predominantly most of the guillotine executions happened here, at least the famous ones of Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette. Thanks, Janice. I'm glad you enjoyed the tour. We're going to be wrapping up in a minute here, and then you can join me at the cafe if you like. So that's Place de la Concorde. We have the Ferris wheel, which is seasonal. You know, everyone's kind of divided on that, whether they think it fits or not at Place de la Concorde. Certainly offers a nice view. And we're going to wrap up the tour. I want to thank you guys so much. I'm going to give you a real quick look at the Tuileries Gardens here. Not exactly in bloom, but still lovely nonetheless. Well, we hit well over 400 live viewers, so we're just going up and up. And I want to thank you guys so much. You can join me next weekend. Keep an eye on Facebook. Follow me. You can set up a notification for when I go live. There are instructions for that on my Facebook page. And I'm going to finish up here. I got to thank you guys so much. The support for this has been incredible. 99.9% of you are so supportive and positive, and that other 0.1%, screw them. But we're going to do these over and over. This is a really unique project. I don't think any other tour guides are doing this in Paris. So I feel like we're kind of on an adventure together, and I think it can take us to some very interesting places. Check me out. Follow me on Facebook, A French Fry in Paris. My blog by the same name, and I have posts going up on there all the time. I'm really into photography. You can check me out on Instagram. I'm called French Fry in Paris. You can just search for me. And you can also hear me on the Earful Tower. It's a podcast run by Oliver G. And I'm going to leave a link in the description of this on my Facebook page. And you can hear me several times on several episodes giving a story similar to the kind of stuff that I've been telling here. So it's called the Earful Tower. It's a play on words. And there's a lot of other stuff that I could ramble on about, but let's just say goodbye until next time. I want to leave with a question. We walked not too far from Angelina today, which is known for hot chocolate, but I want to know, what's your favorite hot chocolate in Paris? Is Angelina it? Have you had a better one? And so let me know in the comments, and maybe you can help other people get a good recommendation for when they come. If you want to book a tour with me and have a walk and do this in person, a more in-depth look in these neighborhoods, then let me know. Contact me, and stay tuned. I'm going to run to a cafe right now, and we are going to have a coffee together and have a little chat. You can talk about the walk, ask me questions, things like that. Second broadcast. I'm going to post this immediately to my Facebook page. You can come back and watch it. Please share it if you like. Please tag your friends in the comments if you have a traveler friend, and I think we're good. Take care, guys. You've been awesome. Thank you. We're going to do this a lot more, and have a lovely weekend. Bye.